Coming to you live inside stand Secombe over Murwillumbah. This is round 10 of the NRRRL for 2019. The Murwillumbah Mustangs versus the Tweed Coast Raiders. The NRRRL is proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Download the app today or head over to ladbrokes.com.au for all your betting information. Of course, gamble responsibly. Dwayne Neville here with Nathan Cross here for a battle of the Tweed Shire and of course a replica of last year's preliminary final. So, Crossy, what is the vibe coming into this one between the two teams who have just shot themselves into the top five?
G'day, Dwayne, and good afternoon to everybody out there via our live stream today. What a cracking afternoon, mate. Sunday afternoon. It's a winter sun in Coolangatta. I've just come down from the Tweed. There's a good vibe around, and it's just even better now that we've got this great clash that you allude to. This last time we saw these two sides was in that preliminary final, and you and I both called that game, and it was a cracker. I think Murwillumbah a little bit unlucky not to get the bickies that day. There was just a couple of little things that if it goes the different way that they may well have played in the grand final. But we all know that Tweed Coast Raiders end up taking out the title last year, and very deservedly so. But here we are, mate. I'm really looking forward to watching these two teams play today. We haven't, I personally haven't called either of these teams this year.
Neither have I, Crossy. This is the first time for me as well. Put the extra study load when it was the first time coming into the first game. It's about time we've finally got these two boys out there. As you can see there, the Tweed Coast Raiders, I don't know if that's the reserve squad or the first grade squad. We haven't heard the Viking clap go up yet, so...
Yeah, no, that's the first grade boys. They run on a bit early. I sort of came through the gates and the Mustangs were still out warming up, so looks like the Mustangs are going to make them wait here this afternoon. And we've got Brent Kite with his assistant Corey Marr over there, along with one of last year's grand final heroes, the powerlifter, Carl Roaston. He's running water and not running off the bench today, so big afternoon here at Murwillumbah.
With that being said, let's give it the tale of tape between the two teams. So for the Murwillumbah Mustangs, Adam Walker is in the fullback position with Jack Bishop and Caleb Howe in the centres. Scott Nichols is paired with Liam Cusack, who was a pick-up from the Coogin Hornets from last year. He has got 11 tries in this campaign thus far in his debut A grade campaign. Toby McIntosh and Ethan Kane as well, coming from the Coogin Hornets, are in the forwards. In the engine room, we have Remy Vanu, Joe Basgrove and Johnny Vandershaw. In the second row, we have Killen Biltoff and Dan Turtland, and locking the scrum is Bailey Compton. Nick Walker, Wade Riley, Sam O'Day and Nick Compton are the bench. What do we need to know about the defending champions, the Tweed Coast Raiders there, Crossy?
Yeah, they'll line up strongly again here this afternoon, albeit they are missing some of their stars from last year. At fullback, we've got Brandon Matthews. On the wings, it'll be the Brooks boys, Darryl Brooks and Dylan Brooks. We've got Dom Murray and the skipper, Guy Lanson, in the centres. The half pairing, young Ollie Singh, I'm keen to watch him play today, and he'll be paired with Harley Peachy. Luke Toon is the front row with Daniel Ross, strong pairing those two. Dan Willoughby, one of the best players in the competition, he's at hooker, and the back row of Kalani Hensby, Connor Hickey and Jamie Donaldson. And off the bench we've got Cody Hart, Luke Campbell, Kyle Patience and Cam Pollard.
So the Murwillumbah Mustangs came into round 10 at second, but after yesterday's victory for the Casino over Northern United, I believe they now will start this game from third. Tweed Coast in fourth position with a 5-3 record. That, of course, technically was only 2 losses. The other loss came, which was very costly, from an unregistered player against Murwillumbah, so Murwillumbah took their points. So Murwillumbah coming this one after a very fiery 40-22 win right here about 8 days ago under lights against Kyogle. And watching that game on the Huddle app there, Crossy, that was a very fiery contest from both sides, as it is normally on a Saturday night between those two teams.
Mate, absolutely. A couple of mates who played in that game, and it was pretty close at half-time and fairly physical, but they got away on them in the end. But we're about to get started here.
So the Mustangs running right to left on your screen as we're away here at Stan Secombe Oval in Murwillumbah. Oh, nicely taken there. Had to work out, but didn't quite get it done there, Crossy. So it's going to be now a drop out there for the Tweed Coast Raiders.
Fantastic kickoff. I didn't have a look who that was. It potentially might have been Caleb Howe that kicked that off. Fantastic, and I think it was young Singh. Didn't really position himself that well there with the breeze behind the Mustangs. So nevertheless, Tweed Coast Raiders are going to drop it out here, and Murwillumbah will be coming out on their 30.
Crossy, these two teams have already played this so far this season, with Tweed Coast getting the rub of the green at Cabarita. Other than that game, the Mustangs have scored 22 points or more in all their campaigns thus far. And as you made mention at half-time last week, they were down 14 points to 12 against Kyogle. Only scored 26 points in the second half to get the job done. Currently on a 3-game winning streak. They've won all games except one at Murwillumbah this year.
Yeah, they're really potent this year, the Mustangs. They're in for a big season. Keen to see him play here.
So this is Basgrove playing with about 5 metres out on the first phase. Gets it into, that's Toby McIntosh. So I was watching a bit of the Tweed Coast game against Casino last week. As we see, they kick across the cup. It's going to have to be played well there by Braden Matthews. But it'll be a 20-metre restart now for the Tweed Coast Raiders.
Yeah, Caleb Howell will be disappointed with that. He sort of, I don't know if he needed a kick. It certainly wasn't fifth and last, but nevertheless, it didn't go the way he wanted it. So the Raiders, they'll overcome that early, the early incident there off the kickoff and get underway here. By the looks of it, we might have Campbell started here. Big Lukey Campbell.
So Tweed Coast coming into this one, winning 4 from their last 5. 4 of their wins became margins of between 6 and 10 points, Crossy. So we're going to expect a tight contest from either side, whether Tweed can get the job done. As I made mention, they've played earlier this year and Tweed got the job done. I believe the score was like 18-10 or something along that bracket. Yeah, it was 18 points to 10 in round 5.
You know, I'm interested to see. Obviously, Lanston's moved to the centre. We've lost. The Raiders lost his brother Drew early in the year.
That's correct. Yeah, I think it was a season-ending injury. I think in the first game.
Just horrible for the Raiders. They're such a big part of their group here as they come back short side.
So Willoughby does kick across the carpet there by, I think that's Oliver Singh, and just puts that one into touch. So it'll be a 10-metre scrum feed in favour of the Mustangs.
Young Ollie Singh here. I was talking to a colleague, Matthew Francis. He's the ex-Parramatta Eels and Gold Coast Titans welfare manager. I was caught up with Matty this morning, and he mentioned young Ollie Singh. He's the nephew of Troy Pizzette. Troy is an ex-South Queensland Crushers and Parramatta player.
That's going right back. South
Mate,
Queensland Crushers in 1995.
I'm probably showing my age here. I actually played with Pezzy at Parramatta and in the New South Wales country team. And anyway,
and so that's a costly error there by Adam Walker. That's put in perfect position now for the Tweed Coast Raiders, 10 metres out from the Mustangs line. They'll be looking for early points. They had, and Crossy, watching that game against Casino last week at Cabarita, just seeing on the highlights there, the Tweed Coast Raiders, they've still got every bit of that impressive defence, which got them into that Mona major premiership bracket. They started a little bit shaky. Nevertheless, they started off getting the first points. As we can see there, that's Don Murray.
Geez, hasn't he got some wheels, Murray?
He was keen on that corner there. Don Murray gets it into the hands of Peachy, now into the hands of Daniel Ross. Strong hit up there by Daniel Ross. Equally as impressive defence there by the Mustangs. This is Willoughby. She's playing short side in the hands of Peachy. And that's Don Murray again. He's keen on that corner there, Crossy.
Great defence from the Mustangs.
So now it's going to be played through the hands into Peachy. I think that's Jamie Donaldson. And this is on the fourth tackle. About 5 metres out. That is going into the hands of, that is Brett Matthews. Kicks across. Should be read there by his opposite number there. And great tackle there by Dylan Brooks.
Well, Dwayne, if the first 5 minutes is anything to go by, this will be a fantastic game of rugby league here this afternoon. The Raiders, some really good shape in attack. Obviously, Coach Brent Kites really got them primed up sort of halfway through the year, and the Mustangs, they just kept turning them away.
So you can just see there that very outstanding defensive effort there by the Tweed Coast Raiders. As I was making mention, they haven't conceded many points this season at all, Crossy. They've only been south of the Byron Shire once in this campaign, and that was in round 1. Since round 1. Sorry, that was Murwillumbah that I was speaking about there. They've only ever... That was that game against Evans Head. They've only had to travel south of Byron once, so they've had a pretty... when it comes to geography-wise, they've certainly had the advantage. So it would tell once that they have to take some games further south into the likes of Ballina. So I think they play Ballina in a few weeks.
Absolutely. You always find, and particularly in the back half of the year when a few injuries creeping in, a little bit of a form slump can often happen, and all of a sudden then you're on the road travelling away. It's hard to find those wins, which is critically important that you get those early wins in the year when you're playing close to home, which they've managed to do.
So, as I was making mention, they'll have 3 of the next 4 away, the Murwillumbah Mustangs following this one. So, we're interested to see how that campaign goes. As we see the likes of Kyogle, for example, they went on a bit of a run, and then they played here last week, and they've chalked up a couple of losses since against Casino. And as we can see, a penalty given now to the Tweed Coast Raiders. So let's just see how the Murwillumbah Mustangs respond here. It's giving away a few early penalties there, Crossy.
Well, I think what they're going to see here, I think they'll kick the touch. I reckon they'll get to a near post, the left-hand post, and I think they'll be trying to come back on that short side for Dom Murray, the number 3 for the Raiders. I haven't seen much of him, but from what I've seen in the first 5 minutes here, he looks class. So I'd like to see him get some early ball and get one-on-one over there with Caleb Howe. That's a really good contest with those two.
So this will be now played out on the second phase here by Dan Willoughby. That's passed into Ross. He's met there in the tackle by
They might go left
Compton.
in.
So that's Willoughby. Cut out pass into the hands of Donaldson. Back into the hands now. That's Connor Hickey. And now look, I think you can see there, Oliver Singh there, he's looking for a short side play on this play. So that's exactly where they're going to go. This is Singh. Look, went for the dummy, but Royal Red in response there by the Mustangs. That was the likes of Adam Walker there. They're still going on that short side, looking pretty there. Crossy, just short. And the referee's called a penalty in favour of the Raiders, so they'll have a fresh set of 6 and right inside the 10 metres of the Murwillumbah Mustangs there.
Well, mate, I'll tell you what, if it's a penalty to the Raiders, it means that the Mustangs have been able to hold up Guy Lanson there, who's a large human. That's a great job. Geez, this Murwillumbah defence early has really impressed me.
So let's see what the Raiders can do from here. This is going to be Willoughby into the hands now. That's Luke Campbell. He was one of the standout players in that grand final last year, Crossy, as you may well remember.
Yeah, he's a goer, Lukey Campbell. Love watching him play.
Willoughby into the hands now. That's Donaldson. Cut out pass. Oh, that's well picked up. I think that's Adam Walker there, sorry, Crossy. And it's going to be basically a foot race. That is actually Toby McIntosh going about 95 metres on the fly. Sorry, that is Liam Cusack there. We're having a hard time seeing the numbers there from where we are, Crossy, but Liam Cusack has just added his 12th try of the campaign in the first 8 minutes, 4 points to 0 to the Mustangs.
Oh, and it was against a run of play, wasn't it? They set up well, the Raiders, and I think it might have been Ollie Singh, looking for the long ball to miss out Lanson. Lanson puts his hand up and tried to sort of take the early catch and sort of force his way over, but it ended up in the hands of Cusack, and didn't he show a clean pair of heels? I saw Big Daniel Ross, the front row. He was chasing, but it was all in vain in the end. And Cusack's gone 95 metres and totally against a run of play. And the Mustangs are going to play from in front 4-0.
What an impressive play there by Liam Cusack. For me, Crossy, he's just like I've covered a lot of his game from the Laurie Daly Cup from last year, and he was always an impressive player. But in his first season, being picked up from the Coogin Hornets for his first season at A grade, he's now, I think not just by a little bit either, he's the leading try scorer this campaign. And when you got the likes of Jack Bishop, who was last year's top try scorer, he's sitting on about 6. The Mustangs, they're packing a punch coming into the latter half of this year.
No, they certainly are. I think most teams are looking at both the Mustangs and Ballina as really the benchmarks for this season. Right off Tweed Coast at your peril, but they have had some of their stars out.
And the flags go up here, 6 points to 0. The Mustangs getting the first blood against the Tweed Coast Raiders here at Murwillumbah. As you can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. Download the app today, either on your phone or laptop, or if you want to do it the old-fashioned way, follow the W's, ladbrokes.com.au, gamble responsibly if you choose to do so. As we resume action now, this should be mapped there by, I think that's going to the McIntosh. So I think that's Remy Venu. From where we're situated here, folks, we're having a hard time reading Murwillumbah's numbers until they hit about the 30-metre line, so we'll do our best.
Yeah, we're in the grandstand with all the Tweed Coast faithful here, aren't we?
We're basically smack bang on the 25-metre line where the Tweed Coast Raiders are defending, so we'll do our best. If we get some mistaken identity, we'll try and avoid that as best we can.
We'll also do our best to remain very impartial, even though we've got some people looking daggers at us at the moment. As we see a penalty against the Raiders, called him offside, never got back to 10.
So it's starting to get already a bit of niggle out there, as I made mention between that game between the Mustangs and the Kyle Turkeys. That was just absolutely fiery, especially in the second half. It must be something to do once you hit inland and when the sun goes down. As you hit Murwillumbah in the inland, it's just all bets are off.
Yeah, it gets cold and it gets a bit dark and it gets a bit scary. And the Turkeys found that in the second half there last weekend.
So that's built off. This will be Joshua Basgrove playing into the hands. That is Vanu. And he's just barraged over about 2 metres away from the Tweed Coast line. Back-to-back tries here for the Mustangs would be absolutely mint early in this portion of the game. So this is going to be McIntosh. That's Kane. Gets it into the hands. That's Keelan built off. Just shy of the line on the third tackle. They have an option of a short side. Besgrove sends it wide. This is going to be now Kane. And taking there, that's Dan Turtland.
He's a big unit, isn't he?
Absolutely. This is Besgrove. Bring it from that right side. That's McIntosh into the hands. That's Caleb Howe. And he's going to be met great in the tackle with the likes of Jamie Donaldson. Fifth and last. Raiders have done well thus far to defend. Kick goes across. Should be greeted. That's picked up. Oh, absolutely well played again there by Liam Cusack. He has picked himself a double within the first 10 minutes of this one. And should be given. This should be 10-0, and it is.
Well,
what a start by the Mustangs early here, Crossy.
Yeah, it sort of feels like a bit of an anticlimax. But from looking at it live, Dwayne, the kick didn't look like it was actually a high-quality one. However, he's landed on the spot. Everyone sort of looked, but not Cusack. He just kept following through and picked up the loose ball and come around and improved his position for his second four-pointer of the afternoon inside the first, what are we, mate, sort of 10, 12 minutes.
Exactly. So with the Murwillumbah Mustangs knowing as well that 4 of their games this year have been decided by 8 points or less, and they split the honours there. They've won 2 of them and lost the other 2. So you'd think going the tail of the tape into this one, Crossy, that these 2 teams, it was going to be a quite tight contest. And I mean, look, the Tweed Coast Raiders, I mean, they're the defending champions for a reason. So, and they don't normally concede tries that easy. So hopefully there's still plenty of time for them to make this a tight affair. And as we can, all the games I've covered so far this year, it's not over until it's over.
No, you've called a couple of crackers, haven't you? Unfortunately, I haven't been involved in those last-minute ones.
No.
But I'll tell you what's really noticeable for me, Dwayne, here this afternoon is the quality of the coaching for both these teams. Obviously, Brent Kite, led by the very well-known, the Raiders led by Brent Kite, but also on the other side, Nathan Jordan, very, very good young coach, very good player in his day and a real student of the game. The shape and the quality of the play already in this game is probably some of the higher ones that I have seen. So as we see Howe kick that over.
And nicely kicked there by Caleb Howe, the captain. Now makes the score 12 points to 0. We're about 13 and a half minutes in here at Stan Secombe over Murwillumbah. So Liam Cusack that now makes it 13 tries for his campaign. And going into this one, Crossy, he had 44 points, making him the 6th overall point scorer after 10 rounds of the NRRRL. And normally when you score 44 points, they normally contribution to the goal kickers lifting up the tally, but all of them were 4-pointers.
Yeah, that's a huge effort, isn't it? Really, really good. As you said, you're normally speaking about the freak, Jack Bishop, on the other side.
Yeah, that's right.
One of your favourite players from last year.
So a win here for the Mustangs, could potentially put them as high as tied first with Bowenner, but second and basically on for and against. A loss there will send them down to 5th. So that's just to illustrate how tight this top 5 is as we head into the second half of this year's campaign. Tweed Coast being on 4th. And just as I mentioned at the start there, Crossy, how costly that could potentially be with filling that unregistered player against Murwillumbah, because they're currently sitting on 4th with a 5-3 record. A win for them if they can get back into action this one. They could go as high as 2nd, low as 5th as well if they can't get it done here today.
So do we know with the unregistered player situation, was it an oversight in paperwork or something?
I can't go exactly that far in it. I'm just did a bit of research into it, and it's basically, the rule is basically if you, not only do you lose the points, Murwillumbah picked them up. So
yeah, it's always a tricky one. I mean, I've been involved in it myself personally, where you've got a guy that's sort of turned up and he's signed on, whatever, and just waiting on a clearance for another club that's been told that it's been sent, or it's in the mail, or it's on the fax, and it's just not forthcoming. So nevertheless, the rules are there for a reason. So that's one that Tweed Coast it's got away from.
Come round 18, it will just be absolutely telling it how costly could that really be, because that could be a fine line, but not just potentially going for a back-to-back minor premiership, but also for a top 5 spot. You know, it's absolutely tight, and you're throwing Casino and Kyogle in the mix. As you can see there, that was a lovely defence there. I think that was Harley Peachy there that just read well, and even better there, just as good there by Daniel Ross. They're not letting up in defence, though. It's taken some absolutely freakish play from the Murwillumbah Mustangs to get where they are.
Well, we're sitting here and it's 12-0, and it's not it doesn't feel like a 12-0 game,
Not at all.
So, but just getting back to that top 5 situation with the Raiders, I mean, Brent Kite, you know, obviously we're always thinking about we want to make the semi-finals, but realistically, and I think history shows, you've got to be top 3.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think if you look at it now, you've got Ballina and Murwillumbah penciled in for top 3, albeit a long way to go still. There's a good take.
So this is taken out by Braden Matthews. Does well to get it about 20 metres out, about 5 inside field.
Yeah, so the Raiders will need to get going, Dwayne, and it all starts here today because they will start to get some troops back, you know, around that sort of June 30 mark and really settle into their stride as far as their correct squad goes. So these guys have got to get it done here this afternoon.
Because you did make mention of they have lost some personnel from that grand final winning team. Probably for me the biggest one, Tana Robertson.
Yeah, Tane, which I'm obviously coaching up there at Tweed Seagulls at the moment. He's doing an outstanding job leading that team around really, really well. But I was concerned from the Raiders' point of view that they would miss him and his leadership and steering them around the park.
So the kick goes downtown, should be greeted there. I think that's Jack Bishop there. No, just got tripped. He's met there in defence there by Dylan Brooks. That's Vanu. Brought down hard there by Dylan Brooks. About 15 metres, or 20 metres out from their own line. Well brought down there by Jamie Donaldson. And the Tweed Coast Raiders have conceded a defensive penalty.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky there. Big Daniel Ross, big man on small man, and he ended up getting him high. Wasn't much in that, although Cusack is still down. Probably warranted a penalty. So that's the only thing that's separating these two sides at the moment, Dwayne. It's just the couple of penalties that have marched Murwillumbah Mustangs up the field. We saw their second try come off the back of a penalty and a tackle 5 kick. So now the Mustangs, they're going to have a tap on around about halfway. Let's see what they can do here.
So going into next round, the Murwillumbah Mustangs, they'll be away to the Morris Brothers Rams next Sunday. Whilst Tweed Coast, they've also got a road trip. They've got Kyogle on a Sunday afternoon, so not easy games for either side, especially as I mentioned, you know, that you find the tail of the tape with these two teams that the home form has been on point for both teams. It will be interesting to see how they go when they have to go into the Richmond River, Lismore area. Ooh, so there's cries of forward. That for me could have been the case there, Crossy, and instead they've just given away a penalty. That for me looked at probably about half a metre forward from where I was looking at. It did. In my opinion.
Yeah, no, they're not getting the rub of the green. So 12 points in front. I wouldn't be surprised if Howell comes in and takes the 2 here.
And he does. So Besgrove there will set it up. It should be taken by Caleb Howell to take the kick.
And that's the difference at the moment. It's just a couple of little things aren't going the way of the Raiders. You know, potential forward pass. It was probably line ball, but referee said play on, and then all of a sudden they get a penalty. So they've just got to start getting the rub of the green, the 50-50s, and that will come, but they've just got to weather this early storm.
So as we're getting into the end of the first quarter of this one, so this will send this to a free score lead for the Murwillumbah Mustangs at 12 points to nil as it is at the present.
Yeah, just getting back to your point, Dwayne, about some of these teams like Murwillumbah having to start heading down into the, Summerland Way, getting down to Casino, Kyogle. I think Kyogle have shown that they're a very, very good side at home, but maybe have struggled to win away. I know in all.
They had a close one against Evans Head last night. Apparently, they got the job done, but it was close.
At home?
Yes.
Yeah,
so kick goes up 14-0. It is. You'll see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. 14 points to nil. The Mustangs over the Tweed Coast Raiders here at Stan Secombe Oval in Murwillumbah. Trust you enjoyed the coverage wherever you may be watching, courtesy of MGM Sports on the YouTube page. Let us know what you think of the coverage. So as I made mention, the Tweed Coast Raiders getting the job done, 26 points to 20 last week at Cabarita. That was, for me, it was a very tight contest there, Crossy. When you had the likes of, just having a look here, so, I mean, Luke Toon, when he scored one of those tries, that's a player for me to watch if Tweed are going to get some points. They're going to look for the likes of Kalani Hensby and Luke Toon, because when they score tries, they score them big, and pretty much, no pun intended, is that, like, when Luke Toon scored his try against, his one against Murwillumbah when they played in round 5, he absolutely barraged over to score.
He did, mate. I remember that try he scored in the grand final.
Yes.
It's kind of put it beyond doubt, and it was a very euphoric scenes when Toon went over. So, he was coming off the bench that day, and he's into the starting pack now for Brent Kite. So, he's been doing a good job.
So, when Tweed Coast, they got the win, but 26 points to 20 last week, they had to do it from behind in the latter portions of the game against the Cougars. So they'll obviously have to repeat this today. So let's see what can happen here 20 metres out from the Tweed Coast line. This is going to be taken up by Braden Matthews. And bit of a one-on-one play there, well read in defence. Taken up, pass there by Lanston.
Lukey Campbell's coming off. His job done there for his first stint. I think we'll see Patience come on.
So this is Luke Toon, as I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago. As you can see there, gets about 15 metres on the fly. This will be now taken by Willoughby. That's going in the hands of Ross.
Numbers.
And so there's numbers on the left. It's looking so promising. That's Don Murray. Does well to get an extra 5 metres out of that on the fourth day. So this is a little dummy play there by Willoughby. Toon. Fifth and last now. Done well to get about 15 metres out from the Mustangs line. This will be played here by Singh. Kick goes up. And this should be read there by Guy Lanston. Is read, passed in, and that is... jeez. And I caught it there. That's Connor Hickey. We thought that would have been the first points there for the Seagulls. For the Raiders. And there's a bit of push and shove there. We kind of expected that going into this one. Bit of niggle. And you can probably hear over our mics here, as you made mention about 5 minutes ago, Cross, we're surrounded by Raiders supporters here. You can hear it. They just calling for a bit of banter, but I think the referee's got well in control of this now.
Yeah, well, that's a bit of that frustration for the Raiders. I mean, we called it up here that they had a possible forward pass against them with Murwillumbah. Wasn't to be. Then they got a penalty and kicked 2 points on that occasion. Nice kick from, I think it was Ollie Singh, put it up, and you could see from a mile away that Lanston, the tall timber that he is, was going to be in the frame to catch that. He took it well, offloaded, but the referee was right on the spot there, and they ruled a forward pass. So they're just not getting those calls at the moment, the Raiders, but they've got to persevere. They've got to keep hanging tough here and keep propelling this Murwillumbah attack.
So this will now be a 10-metre restart here from the Mustangs. And what was looking likely to be first points for the Tweed Coast Raiders, they're going to have to do the extra hard work now to get back to where they are on the field, because Mustangs have looking very potent in attack, done well to get out of their own half, which is very un-Tweed Coast Raiders like, as you and I know from calling previous games in the final series last year, Crossy. So, and just from what I was watching some of the highlights, they've still got every bit of their defence. So I just think it's been a few little costly areas. I mean, one of their tries that they conceded against Casino last week was someone in their back line just knocked the ball forward in their own dead ball line, and it was a thief of a night kind of play from one of the Casino Cougars to score one of their points. So they can't ill afford to do that today against the Mustangs there, Crossy.
And you can tell already that the 2 tries that the Mustangs have scored haven't been through bad defence for the Raiders. I mean, one was an intercept around 95 metres, and the other was they just let the ball bounce. So Besgrove jumps out.
Oh, they're playing that short side. They had to do well to keep maintain the handling there. This is fifth and last, Besgrove. This should be sent up by McIntosh. It is. This should be collected smack bang on the 20-metre line, and well taken there by Daryl Brooks.
Great take, Brooks.
Needed every bit of his ball handling skills to take that one on smack bang on the 20 metres. The Mustangs have just been equally as impressive in defence thus far.
Haven't they ever? Well, before, when Tweed went on the attack down there, before the Lanston sort of forward pass, they played early ball to Murray, who I've touched on before. He looks a real threat, Murray. He looks fast. And I think it was Toby McIntosh come up with a great one-on-one tackle. If he doesn't make that, they're away. As we see Tane Robinson now, he's arrived from the Tweed after his game today.
So this is Willoughby now playing 40 metres out from their own line. That's Luke Toon. Absolutely smashing run. Mustangs done well to keep the Raiders inside their own half of field. This will be down taken by Singh. Should be greeted there by Adam Walker. And he'll look to get about maybe 30 metres on the fly. And nice tackle there by Dan Willoughby. Keeps it there about 35 metres away now from the Mustangs line.
Great positional play there, Dwayne, from Walker. I mean, look at that. They play two. They're already on their 40 metres. Outstanding.
So that was McIntosh there. 40 metres out. This is the third phase of play. Nice little hit and spin there. I think that was Johnny Vandershaw there.
I think it's Sammy O'Day.
Yeah, sorry, that is Sammy O'Day. That confusing it.
The veteran. He's doing hit-ups. The former hooker. He's been a very good player for a long time.
So Basgrove plays it from dummy half into the hands of McIntosh. So 30 metres out. So that's about 70 metres gained of that set of 6. Playing the short side into the hands of Caleb Howe. And nicely tackled there. I think he's just done well there. Matthews to keep it inside the field, just off the dead ball line.
And that's such smart play from the Mustangs. I mean, Howe's a good kicker of the football. He's their goal kicker. And really, I mean, your worst case result there is that they get tackled a metre out, which is what happened there, or best case you're scoring a try, or thereafter you're tackling them in goal. So really, really smart play there from the Mustangs.
So
now we've got the Raiders, Dwayne, having to ruck it out from their own end.
So this is a bit of uncharted territory here for the Tweed Coast Raiders. Normally you don't, well, this is going to help matters. Defensive penalty there on the Mustangs. So this, to be brutally honest with you there, Crossy, they needed something like that to go their way for the Raiders, because like the Mustangs have just done well to keep them inside their own half of field. And look, once the Raiders, we could see from about 5 minutes ago that once they do get inside that 40 metres, they've got the creativity to get the job done. So let's see what comes of that. That was Kalani Hensby, so they'll be looking to him for the points. He's had an impressive representative campaign for the Northern Rivers Titans in the under-23s on the second phase. That's, what is it now, about 30 metres out. You can see there Dan Willoughby protesting. Mustang is claiming that there's a bit of slow defensive play there from the Mustangs. So this will be played by Toon. Plays on the short side into the hands of Ross. That's going to be Donaldson. Oh, they're so close to the line there. Jamie Donaldson. Willoughby. That's Kalani Hensby. And he's there greeted there by Remy Vanu.
They need to go short side here.
Fifth and last. This will be now played by Willoughby. That's gone into the hands of Singh. Kicks it across the carpet. Well read there by Joe Basgrove, but he'll have to now take the line drop out for now. It'll be another set of 6 beckoning now for the Tweed Coast Raiders.
Yeah, well, they're doing a great job, the Mustangs, in D. They keep turning away the Raiders side. They're right edge in D, the Mustangs. They're doing a really, really good job. At times they look short, but they adjust their numbers late and they actually come up with some really good decisions. However, I'd really like to see the Raiders start to double shot that edge, sort of get back to a near post rather than then go back there, because I think there's some joy to be had there.
As you can probably see there on the screen there, we're just about 12 minutes and change left in the first half. Just joined us 14 points to nil, the Mustangs over the Tweed Coast Raiders. You can see there, you've got one Ladbrokes scoreboard on your graphic and you've got another one there on the scoreboard. So I think we've got well bases covered there with Ladbrokes there, Crossy.
Absolutely, mate. It's fantastic to have Ladbrokes on board, and much needed for Country Rugby League, and it's just fantastic. So
that was Guy Lance taking the tackle. This is now going to be Kyle Patience.
They've got big numbers left here, Dwayne, big numbers.
So let's see what Dan Willoughby can do. He's going for that side there, Cross. He gets it in the hands of Toon, into the hands of Donaldson. Oh, he's just taken there by Toby McIntosh. And so the referee there has called a strip penalty against the Mustangs. And I mean, you can't defend that one. That was a strip every day of the week for me.
Well, Donaldson needed to let that go there before he ran behind his player and let it go. They created a 3-on-2. The shape had done the work. They don't need to run any further, but they need to keep persevering on their left side.
So this is now Willoughby about 15 metres out from the Mustangs line, into the hands now of, that's Oliver Singh. So Willoughby now, he's keen on that left side. I think the Murwillumbah Mustangs know it there, Crossy. They've got some extra numbers there. That's Donaldson, 10 metres out. This will be now the third tackle. This will be now Willoughby to play it into the hands. That's Singh. He's gone there early, Crossy, on the third phase. I don't think he really needed to do that for me. I think though, that was sort of starting to work there. I just thought, yeah, Ollie Singh just lost a bit of patience and just, I mean, you can't blame him for being creative, but I just think that, like, if they keep it up, they will get the points just playing on that left side.
Yeah, definitely, mate. He showed some inexperience there, young Singh. I sort of gave him a little bit of a rap at the top of the game here today, the nephew of Troy Pizzette. However, he'd like that back again. They've really got to just build some pressure, and he's got some big back rows outside him there, and he's also got Guy Lanston outside him as well. So he just needs to play high percentage footy there and just give his big outside men some early ball.
With that being said, in that game against Murwillumbah in round 5, they were the most influential players, with the likes of as well Dan Willoughby, to get the job done. So they're going to need more of that today.
And we just saw what Besgrove can do when he comes to life.
So this is Ethan Kane, kicks across the carpet. Cusack's already, he's keen on a hat-trick, but yeah, it's just not working it on this occasion.
Well, that's tit for tat there, Dwayne. We've got both halves have sort of overcooked it there and would both like their time again. So the Raiders are looking a bit out on their feet there. I'm having a look at Dan Willoughby. I mean, he's been enormous in both attack and defence. He's been an absolute pest for any of the middle forwards of the Mustangs. He's getting up on them early. But that's taking its toll on him now. They're going to need their outside backs. Here goes Lanston to come in and take some pressure off.
It was also worth mentioning in this game when the Mustangs played here against Kyogle. For the most part of the game, they had as we can see there, a penalty given there by the Mustangs. I was just about to make mention, a Kyogle player got sent off in the first early portions of that game. They played 13 on 12 for most of it. I think it was for a late hit, and they scored pretty much from the set of 6 that followed. So that was a very attacking price game. So they've obviously taken in the momentum, because that was 8 tries to 5.
Yeah, wow.
And against that game against Kyogle.
Yeah, they can. I like watching them play. As I said, they're really well coached with Eggy, Nathan Jordan there, and impressed so far with their defence here today. They've got answers for everything that the Raiders toss up.
So that's back-to-back penalties now for the Mustangs. So they don't want to start getting into the habit now of giving away penalties, because the Tweed Coast Raiders, I will assure you, make them pay. As I know personally, 14 points at any point of the game, especially even in the last 5 minutes, is not going to be enough, especially against the Tweed Coast Raiders, who know how to win big games. They only won the biggest one last year against Ballina. So this is now going to be taken here by Patience. That's Singh. He's changed direction there, Singh, but that's Willoughby now on the tackle. This will be Luke Toon to now play it about 20 metres out. Let's see if they can finally get some points out of this. They've been knocking on that door ever so...
Oh, good shot.
So regularly.
Sure, was it?
That was. Willoughby, 10 metres out. Through the hands. That's Donaldson. He's going to be brought there just short, Jamie Donaldson. So they've got a couple more phases of play left up their sleeve. This is going to be now Willoughby. That's Kalani Hansby. If anyone's going to point at him, just shy there, Kalani Hansby. So Willoughby, this is 5th and last. Sings will now send this one high. And, well taken there.
User.
And, I think that for me, probably line ball, but you give the benefit of the doubt whether he was tackled in the air, but I think he's just got 1 foot on the cup there, Crossy.
He did a great job, Cusack. He's got a couple of sort of tall timbers out here to compete against, one of which being Lanston, and he was up to the task. He's had a huge first half, Cusack.
Crossy, I'm just looking at some of the comments here on YouTube. Maxie D, he said, where's Tano? And if you just missed it, he's now gone to the Tweed Coast Raiders.
Where's Tane Robinson?
That's just reading one of the comments. So as we get back to action there, so the Tweed Coast Raiders faithful, the Hillbillies, they're protesting for a penalty. They won't get it. So 40 metres out. So the referee's called time here for something. As you can see, I can see it here. You can't see it there. Connor Hickey's down in back play, right where in the attacking line of the Murwillumbah Mustangs.
Yeah, and the Phil the Hill faithful, the Tweed Coast Raiders faithfully, not happy. So obviously happened off the ball. We didn't see it. We were actually having a look at some of the commentary around the live stream there at the time. He's still down though. Hickey doesn't look in a very good way.
No, I hope he's okay there, Connor Hickey's a big influence in this attacking in the engine room for the Tweed Coast Raiders. So I think he's taken a bit of a knock, and I think that could be... Well, he'll obviously have the HIA, and whether, depending on that outcome, whether he features anymore in this game.
Yeah, well, given the fact he's been down as long as he has, he'll have to come. He'll have to come for a HIA. So I think we can see young Cam Pollard down here sort of warming up. So he's coming. Is he coming off? No, he's getting back into the line.
And yeah, so we've got a bit of singing in the stands here. We normally reserve for the A-League soccer there, Crossy.
Yeah, it's good.
They note they're very vocal there, and twice on Sunday and a Sunday afternoon in Cabarita there, Crossy. So
makes it very enjoyable sitting amongst the faithful doing the commentary.
Singing songs until their heart's content. So this is fifth and last, and that was well taken there by Dylan Brooks. I think with the break of play there was sort of a bit of an advantage for the Raiders there. So he knew that kick was coming.
Yeah, shame for the Mustangs because I was starting to generate some momentum there. And
gee, I think that was Braden Matthews there. Crossy just popped out of hands a couple of times there, but he's done well to retain it. So this is going to be Willoughby now there into the hands of Daniel Rossfur, who does well to get about 35 metres away from the Raiders line. So this is going to be taken up by Luke Toon. And I was having a chat there a few weeks ago with Kevin Ferrugia, who does the ground announcing and used to do the commentary with us. He was saying it was very unlucky that Luke Toon didn't get a gig for the under-23s Northern Rivers team, and I tend to agree.
Oh, mate, I know you're a fan of his, and every time I've seen him play, he's played well, you know. So hard to argue with what Kevin Ferrugia's got to say on that one.
So we get back now to live action. This is now the third tackle, 40 metres out now. And, for me, at 14 points to nil, the Raiders can ill afford to let another one in the dying minutes of the first half. It's just gone so quickly, though, for me.
Hasn't it ever?
So that's Fanu. Back to the hand. That's Basgrove. He's done an absolutely impressive line break. This will be one-on-one. Oh, but there was well impressive defence there by Braden Matthews. Fifth and last. Oh. So this will be now Kane, the player from dummy half. Kick there by McIntosh. Should be read there by the Tweed Coast Raiders. And even better defence there by the Murwillumbah Mustangs. So they'll have I think this should be a dropout now for the Tweed Coast Raiders there, Crossy.
Yeah, great work. It was actually really well fielded there by Brooks. The ball just didn't sit well for him. It sat up on its end and popped up, and great D on the edge from the Mustangs. But again, Basgrove straight through the middle there, shows his class. Great tackle from Matthews, and then they went to the right edge with a kick on play 5. Now the Raiders, they can't afford to leak any more points here.
So that's gets about distance of about 35 metres into the hands of Scott Nichols. So this will be in the first phase of play now, 25 metres out from the Tweed Coast line. And let's see what I said, a 6 coming out like this. This is going into the hands there. I can't quite make the number out there, Crossy, but that was Wade Riley. Yeah. That's into the hands of McIntosh. Well read on one-on-one defence there, and keeps Caleb Howe, the captain, there. So that's a penalty given to and you can hear they're probably over our mics, the displeasure of the Hillbillies here.
Yeah, it might have been a bit stiff again then. Really good D from Brooks. He read it well. Come up. It was an all or nothing play. He come up and in, and just didn't quite make it the first time and jumped on in the second. But now the Mustangs, they just don't go away. They're relentless. They're going short side.
Yeah. So, and you probably can't see it there, but there's attacking structure there from the Mustangs on the left side, and it's still intact here on the second tackle. This will be Basgrove. Gets it into their hands. I think that's Wade Kelly. Sorry, that is Sam O'Day there, 10 metres out. This is on the third tackle. This is now Basgrove. That's into the hands now of Toby McIntosh.
Numbers.
And they've got, that's going to be Jack Bishop in the corner. I think that was Jack Bishop.
Yeah, I think a beautiful flick pass from Howe.
And we'll just confirm that, but it looks like it's just not what the Tweed Coast Raiders needed in the dying minutes. That was Jack Bishop. And if you have last year's top try scorer as well as this year's, you would have absolutely believed that both of those two players would have gone on the score sheet, and that is certainly the case. Jack Bishop adding the extras now at 18 points to nil with a kick to come.
Oh, the Raiders, they couldn't hang on there, only a couple of minutes to go on the clock, but it was just class from the Mustangs. It didn't look like there was much doing. I think it was McIntosh. He just shimmied and got on the outside of his man and created the numbers, threw an early pass, ended up in the hands of Howell, and he just early catch, flicked it out the back, and Bishop over in the corner. It hasn't been a game that sort of either team sort of blown each other off the park, but if you look at the scoreboard, you know, if you come here and not knowing what's going on, you'd say it's all Murwillumbah, but it hasn't really felt that way, Dwayne.
Not at all, and I certainly didn't. Well, to be fair, I don't think anyone would have banked on this being the score, especially going in round 5 when Tweed Coast got the job done, and both of these teams had very tight contests leading up into this one. So Tweed Coast are going to have to come out of very big uncharted territory, not just now potentially being 20 points down, but not having any of their own points on the board as well.
And I think, you know, I don't want to underestimate the quality of this Murwillumbah team. They're a team with, as we see this conversion.
And the kick goes up. It's us now. It's 20 points to nil. The Murwillumbah Mustangs over the Tweed Coast Raiders here at Secombe Oval here in Murwillumbah.
I was just going to make the point, Nev, that the Mustangs, they're the sort of team that they don't possess some of the big stars that we've sort of come to know and love.
Absolutely.
Some of the other teams in this competition, but geez, they're a good football team. They just go about their business. They sort of fly under the radar. They're a very good football team, and they're a big chance this year.
So there's about 40 seconds left to go in the first half, and well, for me, you could be forgiven to think the Tweed Coast Raiders are not going to take they're not going to be wanting to rush this kick at all. So you think the Mustangs will probably have about 2 goes at it at best, maybe 3. So this will be now Remy Vanu. That's he's taken their first. On the first tackle there, 20 metres out from the Mustangs line. And I think Mustangs know that they've put in an A-grade performance, and they'll just take it to the sheds and take the momentum with it as the kick goes up, or maybe not. You don't normally see that on the third tackle. And there you can know the hooter is going, and that is the first half in the books. And as Crossy made mention, it might show it's one side on the scoreboard, but it's been not all the case. So who did you like there, Crossy, in the first half?
Oh, I thought McIntosh was good. I thought both with the footy and also and some of the efforts he had to make in D when they were short numbers on their right edge. Obviously, Caleb Howe's a class player. He's their skipper and a real creator on that right edge with Bishop outside him. And then sort of in that back end of that first half, we saw Besgrove come to life. He's been, picking and choosing his moments, happy to dish early, and then obviously look for some tied forwards in the later part of that half. So this second half, I mean, you'd like to think Murwillumbah will go on and win this game. However, all the Tweed Coast Raiders need to do, they just need to sort of have that belief, which Brent Colt will be talking about, instill a little bit of that in them, knowing that they've been here in these sort of positions, done it before. All they need, Dwayne, is to get one try, to get that confidence back, and just sort of build momentum from there. So let's see what Brent Colt has for the halftime team talk. And as you can see there, it's halftime at Secombe Oval at Murwillumbah. It's Murwillumbah Mustangs 20, the Tweed Coast Raiders 0. We're going to take a break here for the next 10 minutes, and we'll be back with you for the second half of action. Dwayne Neville here with Nathan Cross, getting ready for the second half of action for round 10 of NRRRL action, proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. As you can see there, 20 points to nil, the Murwillumbah Mustangs over the Tweed Coast Raiders. And we're going to be joined by Nathan Cross in a next little bit. He's just been down there finding out a bit of the halftime chat info. Some of it we probably can't repeat on air, but Crossy's just joined me now. So what do we need to know about what was said in the sheds there, Crossy? Yeah, I just went and had a chat to Mustangs coach Nathan Jordan, and as you can imagine, mate, he's extremely happy with how proceedings went in that first half. And I'll just mention literally just when you threw the cans on there was basically, we probably can't really repeat what Brent Kite said in the second half there, but he would have got the boys revved up. There's a little bit of paint getting peeled from the wall in there with Kitey. I was going to have a chat to him, but thought, no, I'm going to just leave him to his own device. But having a good chat with Nathan Jordan, he's extremely happy. He said last week, which you touched on, Dwayne, their second half against Kyogle, they come up with 5 tries and actually completed about 85%. And he just said then they were about the same, mate. They were 17 from 19. So any coach knows that, it's if you're at that sort of level, you don't need to play sort of any too attractive football. You've just got to get through your sets and sort of become a bit of a war of attrition, and that's what we're seeing now in this scoreline.
As we get ready for the second half of action here, just taking a look at some of the previous games played by the Tweed Coast Raiders there, Crossy. So 26 points to 20 against Casino. Then they won 25-14 against Coogin. Went down 38-6 to Ballina. They won 18-10. 18-12 against Byron. So won 22-0 against Maris Brothers. So one of those ones that stand out is that first game against Northern United, 64-0. So basically what it is they haven't really conceded a whole lot of points, with the exception against that game against Ballina. And so you'd be forgiven to think, 20 points at half time, but they're going to really have to come out. And I wasn't kidding when I said they have to come out of uncharted territory, because they don't exactly put on some big scores either, well for this season anyway.
No, that's right. We see Besgrove come up with a kick there that was probably only 1 or 2 metres off being a really, really good one. But, mate, you're exactly right there with what you say. Just having a look at some of this Tweed Coast Raiders body language. I mean, we just mentioned that the Brenkite had a fair bit to say at half time. One of the things that I did catch him say was around, if we lose a tackle, it's really important to win the next one. And, winning that next tackle is not always about, as we see some ball movement here.
So let's just see if the motivation speech there from Brent Kite has worked wonders. It's very impressive there to get some valuable metres. This will be on the third phase of play, 40 metres out now for the Tweed Coast Raiders. Crossy, I'm about to make mention too, just having a look at some of my stats here, Murwillumbah Mustangs will be breaking a bit of a streak. The Tweed Coast Raiders, they got up in round 5. They also won, as we made mention at the start there, that prelim final last year, 16 points to 12 at Cabba. And then they won the last 3 before that. So that's about 5 wins straight for the Tweed Coast Raiders over the Murwillumbah Mustangs. So the last time, for what I've got here for me, the Murwillumbah Mustangs last one, it was at Cabba 30-22 in 2016.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, there you go. I think they'll be looking to break that duck today, the Mustangs, and at the moment their body language is pretty good. Raiders keep this alive here as they go short side.
So the kick across the cup, and it's looking promising! And they've got one back in the first couple of minutes. We'll just wait for the referee to confirm it.
The touchy hasn't moved. He's still on the 10-metre line, so this may not be a try.
And this would be their second disallowed try if that is the case. Of course, we'll see what comes out of this. So you can't see it there. The referee is there talking with his assistant. And the letter of the law, and the linesman, if he goes past that goalpost, and he's given a penalty for the Tweed Coast Raiders, so very much the consolation prize in that set of 6.
Well, if he's given a penalty, I'm not sure why it's not a try. They've been good enough to come up with a try in the end.
Yeah, good point.
So I don't know why that's not play on, and the Raiders have got 4 points back. But anyway, that's not to be right now.
Unless he, the only thing I could think of is if he didn't put the ball down properly. But nevertheless,
we saw that live. It looked okay. Now here's an error.
So and he's conceded the error there, Luke Toon. Geez, you'd like to have that one back again. Mustangs, without a doubt, off the hook.
We're only about 3.5 minutes into this second half, but it just gets a feel that it's just not the Raiders' day today, does it, Dwayne?
No, it just seems to be that vibe. You can hear like the supporters here, the travelling supporters, the hillbillies are getting a bit frustrated. And with that being said, though, they did have their first 3 games away from home. Then they've had 4 at home. So I think going in this one, they've got 7. Well, they're 4 games in. They've got about 7 out of 10 games to follow at home leading in. So it would be nice to get the win done today, but it's probably not all lost when they have like a big swag of games at their faithful Lesberger field in front of without a doubt more hillbillies in the grandstand.
How good is it, a day on the hill at the Tweed Coast Raiders? Feel the hill.
Yeah, so we got it, as I said, we've doing a couple of games out there last year. We knew all about the intensity out there. And of course on grand final day, it's like we couldn't actually hear ourselves talk during the grand final, and because they were just so vocal, and that had to raise our decibels up about tenfold.
Exactly. Yeah, we were screaming and getting a few complaints.
Yeah, which is why, folks. That's exactly why the hillbillies just went up tenfold, and we just couldn't hear each other. So we put measures in place over the off season to make sure that doesn't happen again. So, but anyway,
headphones are on now.
Headphones are on. We've got we're all locked and loaded.
And that's the first error we've really seen from the Mustangs. Just a poor pass from Besgrove. It was a knock-on, but it was probably forward in any case. And so that gives possession to the Raiders. They're going to go on the attack 30 metres out, centre field, and options left and right.
So this is Willoughby now. They'll take it about 30 metres out from their line. Just the Raiders had 2 tries disallowed, and that could have really changed the tune of the game. So that's Luke Toon, barraging run by Luke Toon. He's well met in defence there by Joe Besgrove. So 10 metres out from the line. This will be now I think it's the third phase. That's passed into the hands from Singh, gets it into the hands of Matthews, and they're really keen on that right side there, Cross. He brings it back in, that's Matthews. Tries to go himself, but he's brave to take on the likes of the big bodies of the likes of Wade Riley. So this is now going to be played by Willoughby through the hands. There's numbers on the left here, as you can probably see now. That's going into the hands now of Dylan Brooks. Fifth and last now, just shy of 10 metres. This is now Don Murray, goes himself from dummy hard kick. Bit of a Falcon effort there. And we'll see what comes out of this. The referee's letting it play on. And there was could be anything out of this, Crossy. There was just...
Yeah, he may rule a one-on-one strip here against the Mustangs.
It's called a knock-on against the Mustangs, or double knock-on, which is probably fair, so...
I was just about to give the Mustangs a massive rap with their defence. They defend this right edge. It slides very well. They show a lot of space on the outside their winger, and it can often be an illusion for the attacking team. You just want to get the ball early and try to go around it, but they possess such speed in the shape of Howell and who's your mate out there? Bishop.
You had to think about that one for a moment, didn't you, Crossy?
I did. I get confused with Michael Dwayne down at Ballina. But yeah, this is great.
Shannon Walker can add to that list too, by the way.
Yeah, they're so good to watch. But geez, they defend well, Murwillumbah. I'm being really impressed with them today.
So you think Tweed Coast, this is probably about one of the better opportunities that they've got so far. This is Kalani Hensby. They'll be looking to get that into the hands of him as much as possible. And also you can see there Don Murray. Don Murray's so close. He might have just got it down. No. Just lost it in the process there, Don Murray. So that's collected there by Adam Walker. Beats about 4 players. He's not going to beat Luke Toon though.
There we go again.
They can't take a trick, can they, Crossy? They just...
Here goes Bishop.
Bishop, does well to get about 25 metres away from his own line. So
that's what I mean, though, Dwayne. They've just got an answer for everything. The Mustangs, like, Don Murray looked likely to score. He showed good leg drive, close contact and got over, but...
Just, for me, he just grazed the white paint there, Crossy. And if we had video replay, you'd probably think, that's one of the ones that would be worthy of another look. But
good footy.
So nice hit and spin there. That's Bailey. That was Bailey Crompton there. Fifth and last. They're about 30 metres out now. Gets into the hands of McIntosh. Sends a kick across the carpet. Should be collected there by Matthews. He spilt that. And here we go. Mustangs will now have about, just about 15 metres out from the Tweed Coast line. Perfect opportunity to really put this one to bed, or opportunity to put it to bed at least.
And again, we go 100 metres. We've got Don Murray held up over the line, almost a strip, or he lost it over the line, and Mustangs march 100 metres. Some really good play through the centre of the field, and then a nice kick to sort of polish that set. Matthews got a horrible bounce, and now the Mustangs scrum 10 metres out on that scrum line, right-hand side of the field. Numbers on the left.
So last time the Tweed Coast Raiders went down was 38-6 against Ballina. This is McIntosh. Does well. He does well to beat about 3 or 4 players. And he's brought down there by his opposite number there, Ollie Singh. So this is Besgrove. And that's another penalty. So this will be interesting. For me, I think this referee, for me, Crossy's been really patient with the Tweed Coast Raiders with their discipline.
Well, that was the point I was going to make a couple of minutes ago, where Brent Kite at half-time said, if you lose your first tackle, you've got to make sure you win the next one. And I know the Raiders there were really ensuring that they won that tackle, meaning that they slow the ruck down.
So this will be now Besgrove. That's Remy Vanu. He's going to be greeted there by his opposite. Well, Luke Toon was involved, but you could also see the likes of Kyle Patience getting involved. This will be now Besgrove now. Plays into the hands of McIntosh. Nice pass inside. It gets into Caleb Howe. brought down there. Kalani Hensby and Luke Toon. Luke Toon's probably been the defensive player thus far for the Tweed Coast Raiders. And there's numbers on the left there, Crossy, and that's going to be Liam Cusack again. Liam Cusack has just got himself a hat-trick, and he is thus far making that try tally extended even further. And that just confirms it, 24 points to nil. Wollumbar Mustangs are now really getting on with the business now, Crossy.
Oh, and that was great shape. They had the scrum here on the right-hand side of the field, and they went the other side, got a penalty, came back over to the right. They had such nice shape set up out to the left there, Dwayne. They play that wedge shape where one of their middle forwards digs into the line and plays out the back to his half, who then throws a long pass to his left-hand side half, and then come up in the hands of Sam O'Day, who come up with a bullet pass for his winger. That must have been young, that was Cusack, was it?
Yeah, Liam Cusack, that's his third try.
That's his third try. What an afternoon he's had.
And he's come in this one with 11 tries, and if watching some of the highlights from when they played Kyogle last week, he absolutely barnstormed to get one of the tries he got last week. So I don't know what happened to Coogin. Like, he was a Coogin under-18s player going into this season, so I wonder why he wasn't retained by Coogin. I can't answer that, but
they probably want him right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd reckon.
Absolutely.
However, that's, Coach Nathan Jordan would have welcomed him with open arms. This Murwillumbah team, as I said at the top, this is the first time I've seen them play here today, and I know that they're extremely well coached through Nathan Jordan. I can see club legend out there, Damien Quinn, in the yellow shirt running water, so I'm sure Quinny's got some influence over this shape that they're running. But the key for me with what they're doing is that everyone is very, very clear about their role, where they need to be on the field, where they're trying to get to, and the outcomes they're trying to achieve. And they've got a good football team on their hands here. So
the kick goes up, and the kicking has just been on point for the Murwillumbah Mustangs today, thus now making the score 26 points to nil, as you can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. Download the app today or head over to ladbrokes.com.au. All the betting action, of course, gamble responsibly.
26-0.
Who would have picked it?
Yeah, certainly not me. Interesting at half-time. Certainly not making an excuse, but there's a lot of talent sitting on the bench here for the Raiders through injury. They'll be keen to get those guys back ASAP. But for the Mustangs, you can only play what's in front of you, and today they've been far too good. And
I was just about to rattle off the last time the Wollumbar Mustangs lost was to Casino, 24 points to 22. It was at this very ground, so makes it a bit of a thing. It's a bit of a triangle. It's like Tweed Coast beating Casino, Wollumbar losing to Casino, and then here we are. So you can't just go look at it on paper in this competition. And it's just going to make it, just makes it even that more spicier when it comes into finals time, that any of the top 5 teams that make it, whoever's lucky there, have got an absolute shot about it.
Absolutely, and it all comes down to the point Nathan Jordan made at half-time about completing their sets. I mean, most coaches go on about it. It's a boring thing to talk about, but the proof's in the pudding, as we see a high bomb here.
That was McIntosh with a high bomb. That was not knocked forward there for me by Dylan Brooks. Should be collected there by Howe. This one should really put it to bed. And there's the gaps there. That's going to be collected by Remy Vanu. He goes under the post. And Remy Vanu has just really put this one out on the pedestal. Or has he? No, the referee's just going to confirm it right now. He's now on the score sheet. And, geez, Tweed Coast Raiders just cannot take a trick today, Crossy.
Oh, well, the Mustangs are having a day out. And congratulations to them. Sometimes in footy, you make your own luck, and when you complete it 85% or more as they've been doing, you tend to find a bit of luck's on your side. Brooks there, he wasn't real interested in catching that one. That was a tough one. He was posted without any momentum trying to catch that ball, and the chasing team there of Howell and Bishop was swamping him. Come up with the error, and then it sort of landed in the hands of big Jonty Van der Shore, did it?
Yeah, that's correct. So that's Remy Vanu's second try of the campaign. He scored last week as well against Kyogle in one of those 8 tries that they put on display last week at this very ground. He's, of course, come from France. He played his football for Toulouse Olympique. I hope I pronounced that right.
I'm sure he'll accept the apology if it's incorrect. It's a bit of a tough one, but he's been a good player for them for the last couple of years, hasn't he?
Absolutely. He had a very impressive campaign in the finals last year too.
And like I said at the top, mate, they weren't far off last year, the Mustangs. They were 1 or 2 little decisions or bounces of the footy from beating the Raiders at home in that prelim final. So don't underestimate the quality in this football team and what they could actually achieve this year.
So that now makes the score now 30 points to nil. The Mustangs over the Tweed Coast Raiders. 30. So it says they're 32. I thought for me it was 30, but we'll just confirm that with the people over in the scoreboards there. So it was.
Yeah, it is 32.
So it actually is 32 now. Okay. So this will be now collected. Oh, nice big hit. Well responded in defence there by Luke Turner and Daniel Ross. And you wouldn't be forgetting 32-0. They haven't put a beat wrong in defence. And as you mentioned there, Brent Kite, you said that they haven't done much wrong. And we've seen that at a few games this year, Crossy. Like, I'm just trying to recall, what was it? A game against, I think it was a game against Ballina versus Mullumbimby and Ballina Casino. It was a bit of the same. It's just the scoreboard really doesn't reflect the quality of the game of football. And for me, Tweed Coast, they had 2 or 3 tries, which if they had to convert into points, we'd be talking a different game of football altogether.
Bombs away again here. They're going to be relentless in this bombing raid in the second half. Matthews up to the challenge on that occasion.
So this is Matthews, does well to get about 35 metres out from the Tweed Coast line. So this is going to be now played. It's going to be greeted there by, that was I think Wade Kelly there in defence. So when you have the likes of, say, an impressive kicker from the likes of Wade Kelly, and he's not lining up taking the kicks, then it just goes to show that it's not just the tries that they're coming from the Murwillumbah Mustangs, but they also can add the extras as well.
Yeah, Howell he's a real sharpshooter, isn't he, Caleb Howell?
Absolutely.
So they haven't lost much there at all.
So 32 points to nil there, Crossy. I mean, you think that now that it's basically just what the Tweed Coast Raiders can do to put some respectability to the board. So that's going up there by Jamie Donaldson. And, nicely taken there. I think that's Adam Walker. Gets in the hands of Jack Bishop. Just a little bit of a bobble there by Jack Bishop. And Liam Cusac's having a great game. No disrespect to Jack Bishop, but when Jack Bishop's having a quiet game and it's 32-0, you know that they're absolutely on fire.
Absolutely, yeah, you're right. That's a very good point. I mean, Cusac's been outstanding, hasn't he?
I think Jack Bishop, of course, scored today. I think Jack Bishop also, in fairness, has also scored in every campaign, every try. So he scored, that would be 7. So I think he did miss a couple of games. But from what I saw in his stats, he's featured a try in every single game this year. So this is going to be taken up by Nichols. Back into the hands. That's going to Besgrove. That's McIntosh. McIntosh should go himself, and that is now good night Vienna now for the Tweed Coast Raiders, and that is the exclamation mark there from Toby McIntosh. This should be now 36 points to nil, and they're just waiting to be put on the scoreboard. Wow, you're sort of running out of superlatives for this Murwillumbah team. They just keep coming. They're absolutely relentless, and again, they're managing to generate fairly quick play the balls, and then when you've got a class player like Besgrove jumping off the back and taking good options 99 times out of 100, then they're a chance. But like I mentioned after the previous try, the beauty of this team, Dwayne, is that everyone knows their role. So even when someone one of the halves drifts across field, you've got an outside back or an edge back row starting to run holes and trying to punch holes in the defensive line. If you've got your fullback out the back running that tail line, he knows whether he needs to dig into the line or whether he's got to pass early to get it to his speed men like Howell and Bishop. Yeah. So I just think, Nathan Jordan and Damien Quinn there and the rest of the coaching staff there at the Mustangs, they've done a really, really good job. They've put together a squad that, as we said, there's no real superstars, but they've put together a squad where everyone knows their roles and they're digging in for each other. So Toby McIntosh using a pickup from the Burleigh Bears. He featured in the Entrust Super Cup squad. And this is his 4th try for this year's campaign. As the kick goes over to add the extras, now it will be 38 points to nil. Here at Stan Secombe Oval in Murwillumbah. And Tweed Coast Raiders, I made mention in the first half, they are away to New Park at Kyogle next Sunday, so the tasks just do not get easier for them.
No, they'll really need to dust themselves off and pick themselves back up after today. I mean, in all the years I've played and coached, I've never ever had an easy game at New Park in Kyogle. So let's hope for their sake and for their supporters' sake that they can come out of this today unscathed, because they've got a lot of injuries at the moment, the Raiders. I see Jamie Donaldson's, even though wearing 13, he's playing in the halves. So they're since losing Tane Robinson in the off season, and they've really missed that key half in their team to lead them around and provide a bit of polish at the end of their sets.
So that's Johnny Venishaw taking it out 20 metres out from the Mustangs line. So this is going through the hands. Will be meeting defence there by Don Murray. Nice little hidden spin there. Besgrove. That's going into the hands. I think that's Kelly, Wade Kelly.
To the Raiders' credit, Drain, they're still humming off their line. They're physical in defence, so they're showing all the key indicators for attitude and really digging in for each other. It's all there, mate. They're not that far off.
It's just the Mustangs have they've put on the perfect playbook. This is their any given Sunday today by the looks of it. So this is going to be taken by Matthews. Matthews has done well to defuse a lot of these bombs put up there by Toby McIntosh.
He did really well there, and obviously gained a few extra metres for his team. Here's Murray.
Don Murray, just lost a bit of footing there, Don Murray.
Mate, I'd love to see him getting a foot race with him and Caleb Howe or Jack Bishop. That'd be outstanding.
So this is now taken there by Guy Lanston. And they're now just shy of the halfway line. This is the fourth phase. Nice little barraging run, does well to get inside the Mustangs half field. That actually was the fourth phase there. They're playing now on the left side of field. That's gone into that is Daniel Ross. And they've just handed that one back over to the Murwillumbah Mustangs. They just, I don't want to sound like a broken record cross. They're just not taking a trick today, the Tweed Coast Raiders, unfortunately.
Not their day. Oh, here goes Howell. He could have trouble here.
Caleb Howell plays from deep inside own half. He's probably just going to give that one back to him. The passion's still there from the Hillbillies. You can probably hear over the microphones.
There is.
They're still singing songs.
They mightn't be spurring their team on, but they're certainly spurring each other on in the sheds here.
What can you do? Like Dad, if you're a supporter of a club and whatnot, you what else can you do but just mate, enjoy what's left.
Mate, it's great. They've got great supporters, the Raiders. They're big in numbers and always very vocal. Here goes Donaldson.
So Donaldson does well. Gets 40 metres out on the first tackle. So this will be played by Matthews from dummy half. He's going to be greeted, smacked into the tackle there by Toby McIntosh. So that's about just on the 30-metre line now on the third phase. 25 metres out. So they have got a bit of a left side, but I think they were on the left side there. That was Willoughby. Gets it into the hands of Singh, back into the hands of Matthews. So they're just inside 20. And I think that's Matthews there. I think he's holding onto his rib there. Crossy.
Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble as well. He's in a lot of pain, Matthews.
I think his ribs just got absolutely crunched there, Crossy.
Yeah. So the Raiders predominantly, they like to play left and right side. You don't often see their halves sort of combining to pass the ball to each other, but on that occasion and for a lot of the afternoon here today, they're playing to the open side with only the one half, and they're really, for the space that they create, that they just don't. They need another number. They really need their other side half just to duck around on that open side to get the first receiver and push that second receiver a little wider, in my opinion, and try to really make that back rower and that three-man, that half from Murwillumbah, make some harder decisions, because at the moment it's just far too easy pickings for mine.
Let's just hope Braden Matthews is okay. He's there clutching at his chest. And
the Brent Kite must be standing there thinking, what have we done this year? And they had a pretty bit of a dream run last year with injuries. They obviously were the premiers and very deservedly so. But in this year, talking to a few of their players, they've had a bit of a tough run with some injuries and obviously the troubles with their halves around just trying to find that right combination. So Kitey in his second year here in charge of the Raiders, it's never an easy task to sort of back up what you've done, win the premiership in your first year as coach, and then expectations are high, particularly given that they've got largely the same squad.
Yeah.
So, he'll really have to sort of dig deep into his bag of tricks, Kitey, over the next sort of few weeks and keep them close enough, keep them in contact with the top three, because I personally feel, mate, that's where they need to finish to be a real chance.
Even still, you wouldn't expect the scoreline as is at the present. So the other interesting thing is we can see Braden Matthews sitting up, which is very encouraging. I made mention at the start of or somewhere in the early part of the first half that Murwillumbah Mustangs have only been south of Byron on one occasion. That was in the first round. And every other time they've been around thereabouts, either at home or whatnot. So currently at the end of having 4 out of the last 5 games at home, they'll have 3 out of the next 4 away. And next weekend, when they play Morris Brothers, as I mentioned, the first time they've gone out of that Tweed Byron Shire. So this is 5th and last. This will be now Willoughby through the hands into Oliver Singh. That's going to be taken up by Cody Hart. And to no avail. The Mustangs will now have a set of 6 about 5 metres out from their own line.
Yeah, he needed to pass there. He did the right work. The centre turned in. He created the 2-on-1 or the 3-on-2 rather. And Lanston knew it. He knew if the ball finds him, he creates a little 2-on-1, trying the corner. And now this just sums up their day, the Raiders.
So they've just gifted another set of 6 now for the Mustangs. They'll send that one downfield, probably give or take on the halfway line. As you can hear the chanting, we probably can't repeat some of the stuff being said there, Crossy, but...
So we've got, who was it, Compton, I think, for the Mustangs coming off. Janet the crowd having a good laugh. It's all in good fun.
As I said, they're just going to enjoy the dying minutes of this second half. So this is going to be Besgrove now setting up some structure now for the back line, into the hands of McIntosh, into the hands now of Nick Walker. Besgrove now, I think he's got eyes for that left side. That's where he's heading. He gets into the hands now of Johnny Benashaw. And they're now about 30 metres out now from the Raiders line. And they're really looking to get... That's Besgrove going himself, and he brings it inside field, and that's going to go over from Wade Riley. It's looking promising for Wade Riley.
Oh, it's on here, Dwayne.
And you probably can't see it there on the screens, but there's a bit of argy-bargy. Wade Riley should be gifted a try here, and that will send him into the 40-point territory. I don't know what's happened there, Crossy. It just gone out of the corner of my eyes, but did you see anything there?
Mate, I didn't get all. I just saw, just out of the corner of my eye, I just saw Daniel Ross just trying to hold someone at bay. So that's not saying he started it. He's the player I saw because he's probably the tallest bloke out there. So the Mustangs put yet another try on the board, much to the delight of their fans here in the far grandstand.
So after the referee here talks to both captains, you can see there, that's Guy Lanston.
Yeah, that's the skipper.
So it's not going to be just as simple as that. The 2 assistants have come in, so this might even be an early shower for one, if not both, teams there, Crossy. We'll see what comes out of it.
Could well be. So see the skipper Lanston, he's looking very non-perplexed about the situation. Been a long day at the office for the Raiders boys here this afternoon.
I want to get back out to Cabarita and hit the reset button for me. And who would have, as I said, who would have seen something like this? 42, potentially 40, and should be 44 points to 0.
Yeah, unbelievable. I think you hit the nail on the head there about hitting the reset button. That's what Coach Brent Codd will be talking to the boys about during the week. Just flush that, just totally move on from it. Obviously we played here today, but let's just forget that we did, and let's worry about next week and hopefully these next 16 minutes. Lukey Campbell's been sent off.
He's been sent off. Okay. I wonder what has happened for him to get sent off. As I said, in fairness, we didn't even see it. You couldn't see it on the screens here, and you can't see what we saw. I think that's just now going to be up to the judiciary to decide. So
it'll be interesting to find out what's happened there with Campbell. I mean, he does play with his heart on his sleeve. He's a real competitor. However, we don't know what's happened.
So must have been something pretty serious. You don't just get sent off for just even dangerous hits or whatnot. But as I said, it will be a matter for the committee in the coming days. So as you can see there, we now 42 points now with a kick straight in front straight there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. And you can hear the crowd here. The Tweed Coast supporters are absolutely going up.
Well, the referee had absolutely no hesitation in sending him, did he? So
it must have been something pretty definitive. So as I said, we must stress we did not see it ourselves. You could not see it here on the screens. We'll surely find out by next round. So kick goes over, thus now making the score 44 points to nil. So now, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Crossy, could there be a half century on the board coming for the Mustangs?
Tell you what, mate, Ladbrokes our sponsor here, and if you're a betting man, you'd be betting yes, there will be. I think the Mustangs have got another try in them, if not two.
And we've got about, I can just have a look at the scoreboard here on the right there. So we're about 16 minutes and change. So just to mention there on Wade Riley, the try scorer, that is his second try for the campaign. The other one coming against Coogin this season. He actually was one of the representatives for the Northern Rivers Titans under 23s in this campaign, this year's campaign. He's also an ex-Burleigh Bears under 22 crossing.
Well, there you go. Is that some experience?
So that's actually, speak of the devil, that is Wade Riley. And so this is going to be now played by Besgrove. Oh, for me, I thought Besgrove, if you see a scoreline of 44-0, you reckon as well as Jack Bishop, you reckon he'd be on the score sheets at some point too. So,
well, he's been key in setting up some of these tries. He just, as I said around half time, he just picks and chooses his moments so well. Waits for that tied defender or marker down or a wide A defender, and he's away, Besgrove, and he set up that last try.
So that was taken up there by Nick Walker. Kick goes up, and so there's chases there for the Raiders. Beats Kalani Hensby. Well collected there. I think that's Cody Hutso. So this time it's a penalty given there for the Raiders. I think there was about 3 or 4 players offside there, Crossy.
Well, Toby McIntosh, he'll come off today and he'll have a sore foot from all the bombs he's put up. And he's had a world of time to do it. The Raiders, they're still willing. That's what I like about him. I mean, I look at a bloke like Dan Willoughby. You know, he's one of the smaller blokes out there in that forward pack, and he's one of the toughest. I mean, he's still rushing out of the line trying to put shots on. So at least, if nothing else, they can't take a win away from here today. They can take away that they haven't stopped trying.
Yeah, well, certainly, I mean, we even said this in the first half when the scoreline, what it was. The Raiders haven't played all that bad, and at 44-0, you'd think that they've just been unlucky with some attacking players. I actually mentioned in the first half, they when they conceded one of those tries against Casino, it was just a spill, like in the dead ball line, which then the Casino player, I think it was Dangerfield, picked it up and scored. It's just, they got a little bit shaky and whatnot, but it is what it is. 44 points to nil, and now that is Oliver Singh. He's normally safe as houses, and he's just absolutely spilled that, and there was no pressure put on him whatsoever. It's just not their day.
It was just a tired pass, but it could have been so different, couldn't it? You think all the way back, Dwayne, to that first sort of 5 minutes where Cusack took the intercept and went 95 metres. I mean, if the Raiders score there, they lead 4 or 6-0, and we've got a totally different ball game.
Do you think also the fact that it was a 95-metre run, and we said in our calls from time and time again, we always put the Tweed Coast Raiders defence on a pedestal. The 95-metre run early in the game, you reckon that probably would have just been like on the back of their minds?
Yeah,
potentially.
Possibly, yeah. They tend to front load a lot of their energy, and but they've had that fitness in the past to sort of get through and get through those sort of tough times, get their second wind, and then we saw, is it a good run here?
Nice run there. He goes over the 40, over the 30. That is going to be Adam Walker. He wants to potentially put it to 50 points into the hands now of Jack Bishop, and he's normally, as I was talking about, safe as houses. He's normally, when he catches that, he is safe as a townhouse, but not on this occasion, Crossy. That was...
Adam Walker showed some class, didn't he? There was nothing on there. He just ran a good sort of bit of an arc line and got man on man and got straight through, and he was trying to set up. He was trying to put the freak, Jack Bishop, in the spot there. To really good work from Lanston, come to the other side of the field to cut that off. So that's pretty inspirational from your captain, even when you're down by 40-odd points or more. So the Raiders haven't stopped trying, but Murwillumbah, I keep saying that sort of haven't got any stars, but to be honest, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but no real names that we sort of talk about, but they've got quality players across this park, don't they?
Absolutely. So this is going to be now played to about 30 metres out now from the Tweed Coast Raiders line. They'll probably just hoping to get at least 1 or 2 tries to take in the next week with that big campaign against the Kyle Turkeys in New Park next Sunday afternoon. So that's the other thing too, Cross, which, like, it's not just the scoreboard, and as you can see there, they're just not completing a set of 6. So there's also that, but for me, a lot of these tries from the Mustangs have come from their own half of field. That's the other thing. So it's just their line breaks, and we're talking like Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz kind of stuff last week, like on the scheme of things, on the absolute scheme of things. That's just like you just do not see it. You just don't put Tweed Coast Raiders and tries going from the opposition half in a barrel, but that's what we've seen today.
That's right, man. And again, mate, that comes from obviously their senior players, their coaching staff. They just back themselves. It doesn't matter if they're on their own 10 or if they're attacking, 10 metres out. They're happy to chance their arm and really just back their own ability. And they've got that in spades here at the moment. And when you've got some confidence, it's really hard for the defending team to sort of keep turning them away, because this Murwillumbah side, mate, if they go left edge or right edge, they've got some real potency no matter where they go.
So this will now be taken. So I also mentioned too that they would be, with Murwillumbah, they'll be tied first, but I also said for and against was going to play a factor. But then again, in all fairness, we weren't expecting 44 points to nil. So, of course, Bowen are playing against Coogin today, so we don't know what that scoreline is. But
so the Seagulls are playing Coogin at Ballina today?
That's correct, yeah.
Yep, so Coogin obviously having a bit of a year where not going as well as previously.
And if it's not silly errors, it's also discipline for the Raiders. That's another set of 6 gifted now for the Mustangs. So, yeah, I haven't got the for and against in front of me here, Crossy, but I mean, I still think Ballina might be safe being at first, at least for another weekend, considering where we are. But, of course, we don't know what's happening in Ballina at the present. So, this is Besgrove into the hands of Ethan Kane. That's going to be taken there by, that's Nicholson.
It's McIntosh,
McIntosh.
He's a threat.
So he went left, right, and they'll finally bring him down. So
they need to go left again here. They got him numbers.
And that's where they're going. That's Besgrove. And that's gone back. Is that going to... No, I thought there about that would have been number 4 there for Cusack, believe it or not. But no, they've been called for a full pass.
Well, again, that just sums up the day, doesn't it? I mean, that exact same play on the other side of the field after 5 minutes is when Cusack ran 95 metres. And again, one of the Raiders players got in the passing lane, come up with the knockdown, but it just didn't go to hand. So, not the Raiders' day, as we've mentioned a couple of times. Just having a look down there, Corey Marr and Brent Kite there, the coaching staff there for the Raiders. They'll just be sitting there just willing that clock to run down to 0-0-0 and get into the sheds, get the boys to reset. Hopefully everyone's healthy and just get to Tuesday and really, as you said, Dwayne, hit that reset button.
So this will now be taken up by Daniel Ross. 35 metres out now from the Tweed Coast line. This is going to be taken up there by, I think that's Kyle Patience. And I think, no pun intended, I think that's what Tweed Coast were lacking a bit of today with some of the ball handling. But that's going to be taken now by, I think that's Pollard.
He's been willing, Pollard, as he's come off. He come on, I think, for maybe for Daniel Ross earlier. He's played well.
So they're about 40 metres out. This is now the 5th and last tackle. Becketing now for the Raiders. And they've done well just to get to a set of 6 now. They've taken the kick. And, should be greeted there by Adam Walker. I think that is Adam Walker. Can't quite make out the number.
Yeah, that's him.
So that's Bishop, the player from dummy half. And you can just hear the frustration here from the Hillbillies in the stands here. They haven't let up either today staying here till the 80th minute. Not a lot of them have actually left to head back to the beaches of the Tweed Shire. Oh, big hit. Well played there by Kyle Patience in defence. So this would be Besgrove playing it now 30 metres out from their own line. That's going to be taken up there by Liam Cusack. For me, the man of the match. Kick goes up just yet and outside 40. Should be collected there by Cody Hart. Ooh, does well. Had to work for it. He's brought down there by Jack Bishop. 10 metres out now for the Tweed Coast Raiders line. And that's a one-on-one strip. So here we go. They've got that one away. It's gone into the hands. I think that's Nick Walker. And geez, just the rub of the. That's just.
And he's hurt himself in the process.
What next now for the Tweed Coast Raiders now, Crossy? That's Cody Hart done well to defuse that. Had to work for it, as I mentioned, but they've just handed it back just as quickly. You can probably just see that both teams just want to go back into the sheds. Mustangs know they've done the job now.
Yeah, it's as a coach, mate, it's funny when you get to these points in the game where all you can do now, all that can happen now for either team is get injuries, and you sort of both want to call it. Even when you're leading by 44, you're sort of thinking, well, to be honest, mate, let's blow that siren. We've had enough.
And I don't want to, and it's just funny when you mentioned that, as we're just talking about going back in the sheds, you can hear there, it struck 40 minutes on the bottom left-hand corner. You just screen the graphics there. Those clocks don't stop. There is, just think of it as like soccer, as I probably would have said last week. We're looking on the official clock. There's still about another 7 minutes to be played. So still a chance for the Mustangs to clock up the half century. It might even happen off this play. That, if it's going to happen, it potentially could come from Cusack, but the Raiders read really well in defence to hold him off the ball. They're playing that short side. That is Nichols. That's gone in the hands of Johnny Van Assure. And it's taken 3 of the Tweed Coast Raiders there to bring him down. This will be now played by McIntosh from dummy half. Brings it back inside field. That's into Kane. And that is Keelan Biltoff. And it's just been the story of the game. Another penalty given now for the Mustangs, Crossy.
Yeah, I think the life's gone out of the game, the crowd. Maybe even the two commentators, mate, were sort of thinking,
pretty much,
geez, there's some penalties blown. And but yeah, let's see if Cusack can get over for another one. Yeah,
well, let's just see what comes of it. So Johnny Van Assure takes that. This is going to be now played by McIntosh. That's Nick Crompton. And yeah, it's just no real urgency even from the Mustangs there, Crossy. Just playing out the minutes. This is now going to be Wade Riley. And now that's going to be taken here by McIntosh from dummy half. That's Walker. And yeah, so the Raiders are defending pretty well even this set of 6 though, so probably, but with that being said, Mustangs have probably just clicked in the second gear.
Oh, good hands.
So that's Kane, kick across into the knee. So Raiders done well in defence. And you can probably see the likes there. That's Connor Higgy's hands on the back of his head. So you still can't believe what the score is. 44 points to nil if you just caught this game late. As you can see there, there's no problem with that's not a drill, folks. That is what the score is at 44 points to nil. And myself and Crossy, we both said we weren't expecting this one. I think neither team would have expected this being the case.
And that's right, mate. To be fair, if someone's just tuned in now and seen the score and hasn't watched the game, make no mistake, the Raiders have not turned it up here today. They've been willing. They've tried as hard as anyone.
Absolutely.
But the Mustangs have just executed so well. Like I said earlier, everyone knows their role. They get to their spots well. And there's a good level of skill in this team, and they're a real footy team.
So this is now going in the hands of Wade Riley. Kick across the carpet. There's 2-on-1 in the Chasers, but it's just going to be beat for pace. And the Raiders will have a 20-metre restart from their own line.
There's another example of it there. Wade Riley putting a little kick in there. A little bit too big, but Caleb Howell was going to be the first one to it if it hadn't gone dead. So little trick shot there with 4 minutes to go. The Raiders, as I said, they've just kept trying all day. So I hope that they can find a positive finish here, Dwayne.
So the Hillbillies have gone back in song. They haven't left here in numbers yet. They're still getting behind their team for the last 80 minutes. This is going to be taken in by Kyle Patience on the short side. They've just absolutely thrown that one away. And so this will be now a scrum feed for the Mustangs, about 45 metres away from the Mustangs line.
Kyle Patience. I didn't see much of him last year. It's the first time I've seen him play, and been impressed with his efforts off the bench. He brings them something different through. They've obviously got a lot of big bodies, the Raiders, and when they get their full team back, they'll be hard to beat. But Patience might just be that sort of guy off the bench that can give them a little bit of variety around what they do. Got a little bit of skill and very willing. So, yeah, Cody's got a good one to come off the bench there for him.
So this will be now taken 45 metres away from the Mustangs line. This is Walker, gets it into the hands of McIntosh. And now I think that's Kalani Hensby for me. If there's any, you got like the likes of Luke Toon, and Kalani Hensby's probably been Tweed's best player. He hasn't really done a foot wrong, especially in defence. He didn't even come close a couple of times himself to score. But if you've got to take a positive out of this, you think Kalani Hensby's just done his job today? Oh,
mate, he has. Like Daniel Ross has tried his heart out, as has Willoughby. So they've been all effort, the Raiders. They've just a couple of key moments where they just haven't executed.
Yeah, you can probably just see there that Mustangs, you could pretty much tell they put the cue on the rack. They're not playing with any urgency. And that being said, they've even gifted a penalty now for the Raiders. Yeah, they know the job is done. I'm just looking at the likes there of Dan Turtland. He's absolutely a big fella for me there, Crossy.
He's a monster. Where's he come from?
He's come from the UK, I believe. He played played a bit of footy in the UK, and we get messages, I think, from his mother that wanted to watch keen to know when you're going to watch him play. So I hope you're enjoying it. I don't know what time it is in the UK at the moment. It must be very late at night would that be a Sunday morning?
Here goes Willoughby. Oh, well, Mrs. Turtland, if you're watching, you got a good one there, and your son Dan, he's a big unit, but he plays well. He's a good pickup.
I think it's about 6:30 in the morning in the UK at the present, so she'll be waking up to an impressive score, 44-0. We're about in the last couple of minutes here at Murwillumbah. So, that's Cody Hart. Gets it through the hands. That's going into Ollie Singh. And you'd think you'd be banking on him scoring points today. So this is fifth and last. They might be able to take the last try out of this one. This is going up by Donaldson. Crossfield should be red. I think that was knocked on there by the Mustangs. Managed to get that way into the hands of Dylan Brooks. Oh, that's so close. You'd think he'd at least get one try out of this one.
Dan Ross might go himself here to try to get over. No.
So that's Ross. That's in there. Kalani Hensby. He's going to be held there 9 metres away from the Mustangs line as we're now in the last minute of this one. They should have the last opportunity of points here. This is going into the hands of Donaldson.
Numbers.
And there's numbers on the right, and I think that's Cody Hart. Gets that one away. They're still playing with some urgency. That was Guy Lanston. Just well and truly short. Gets in through the hands. This is the fourth phase of play. Well brought down in defence there by Toby McIntosh.
Great defence.
So this will now be played by Willoughby. Gets into the hands now. I think that's Patience. Gets in the hands of Kalani Hensby. Brings it in now to Daniel Ross. And they're basketball passes that one away into Willoughby. Gets into the hands. That's going into, I think that's Pollard. And they've given away a penalty. And I don't think they'll get one last of it. Now we're in the last 10 seconds here. This will be it.
Yeah, he's real time off, but they haven't stopped the clock.
Do you think they just take the two? Do you think they just take the two to break the duck egg? You think they will?
I'll tell you what, mate. This Murwillumbah defence today has been outstanding. At times they've looked stretched on either edge and they've just scrambled. They've stayed nice and connected in D. They're working hard from the inside. They've been super, super impressive today.
So let's see what comes out of this. So Tweed Coast will get one last opportunity. They're gonna go out on the shield there. Dan Willoughby sends a kick up. Well, there you go. Probably the best play of the game being played to last. It won't get him the 2 points, but that impressive kick by Dan Willoughby into the hands of Don Murray at least brings something home for the Cabba. Tweed Coast Raiders at 44 points to 4.
Well, Don Murray, as I said earlier, I've been super impressed with him. He's got some wheels. He looks fast. I'd like to see him get in the clear, but he deserves a try today. There's probably 4 or 5 blokes deserve a try, and he's one of them. That's
probably the play of the game, Crossy. As I mentioned, won't get him the 2 points, but that at least take something into next week. That's basically what it is. They've taken something into next week against Kyogle, and you think, hey, it's not all bad. The kick goes up. You'll get the kick as well. Ollie Singh. And so that is all she wrote now. It stands Secombe Oval in Murwillumbah. So Crossy, you're probably gonna be on point on what we think is the man of the match, but I'll just hand it over to you anyway. Who did you like?
Oh, gee, there was a few, wasn't there? I thought Adam Walker had a big game at fullback. Toby McIntosh was outstanding, and Joe Besgrove, he come to light late in that first half, and then again had a big second half. But geez, mate, I tell you what, there wasn't a bad player for the Mustangs. They were really, really good across the field.
So, as you can see there, the players now are going to shake the hands. Murwillumbah Mustangs will sing probably the loudest song they've sung since that grand final win in 2000, and I believe it was 16. They'll sing that one loud, and they're probably going to hear it all across the Tweed Coast and further inland, no doubt. Crossy, absolute pleasure being in the box again for this one. We probably would have thought it was going to be a bit more tighter looking on the scoreboard, but nevertheless, taking nothing away from the Murwillumbah Mustangs. They were just everything. 10 out of 10 performance.
Yeah, mate, it was almost a 10 out of 10 performance. It was outstanding. They are a real premiership threat now, the Mustangs, and anyone who's playing them here at Stan Secombe Oval will be they're in for a tough day.
And as I do mention, Murwillumbah now, we'll have a few on the road coming into this one. I said they'll take on Morris Brothers next week. Full time here at Stan Secombe Oval, Murwillumbah, at the conclusion of round 10 of NRRRL action. It is Murwillumbah Mustangs 44 to the Tweed Coast Raiders 6. For the team of the MGM Sports and the NRRRL, Nathan Cross, I'm Dwayne Neville. Absolute pleasure bringing you the action here at Stan Secombe Oval and Murwillumbah. That is it for us here at Murwillumbah. We will see you next week for round 11 of action. Enjoy your Sunday evening and enjoy your long weekend if you're watching this in New South Wales. Have a good evening.